Simon Sinek is a New York Times best-selling author, motivational speaker, and has one of the most popular TED Talks of all time around how to start with why. He went from being a law student who felt that he had no purpose to becoming a millionaire entrepreneur who gets paid six figures every time he speaks. And today we're going to learn his best advice on how you can find courage. Rise and shine, it's Entspresso time.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and every morning I bring you a shot of Entspresso to help you believe in yourself more and start your day with confidence. So good morning, I believe in you, and let's do this. Over to you, Simon Sinek.
People would come up to me and say, how are you going to do another TED Talk as successful as the first one? And the answer was, I'm not. That was an accident. I won the lottery. Like, I won the lottery, and I can't plan to win the lottery again. Like, that's not how it works. And the success of Start With Why, again, like, I can't plan that. Like, you can't plan for something that was an accident. So I had actually completely divorced myself of any notion that I had to produce something that was better or more successful than the first work. And so when I set out to write Leaders Eat Last, the only goal was to share every lesson that I'd been learning on the topic of trust and cooperation, and do the best job I can of communicating those ideas with literally no concern or thought whether it would be more successful than the first one. I didn't mind. I didn't care. And I feel that way about all my work, which is, you know, the why has sort of gone off and done its own thing. And it's like my kid leaving the house. I'm like, just so proud of it.
Being a perfectionist means you're insecure. You're worried about it being perfect, about it being better than what you've done before, about releasing it and not being embarrassed by yourself when you do. Until you learn to crush that perfectionist thinking, it will always hold you back from creating what you want to create, expressing your ideas, and having the impact that you want to make. So as I filmed this video, George Floyd was recently killed in Minnesota by a white police officer, and there's protests in the street, people demanding change, and I've been struggling to figure out how do I use my platform to try to help spread a positive message. Traditionally, I've stayed out of political issues, I've stayed out of anything really news cycle. I default to thinking entrepreneurs are going to save the world, and I'm just going to try to inspire as many entrepreneurs as possible, and by doing that, that has a ripple effect out. But in the light of what's been happening, I feel like I need to share more. I need to be a part more of the conversation. And I'm honestly struggling to figure out how to do it. So over the first couple of days, I channeled Mr. Rogers, who always said, look for the helpers. So in any crisis, in any struggle, look for the helpers. Try to find the people who are doing good. It's easy to find the people who aren't doing good. It's easy to find the people who are causing the big ruckus, who are kicking up a storm, who are breaking into stores, who are punching other people in the face. It's easy to find that because that's what makes the headlines. But try to highlight and find the helpers, the people who are doing good. And I did that for the first 4 days or so. And then on the 5th day, I didn't know what to post. I started looking through the news and seeing what was happening. I started looking through different hashtags and trying to find someone who was doing a really good job, somebody that I felt, you know, proud of and I wanted to share. And there are a bunch of good stories, but nothing that really pulled at my heartstrings and said, this is what I need to post. Then I started to self-doubt and started to think, why am I doing this? I don't want to become a news channel. There's so many other news channels out there. And just the question, the self-doubt, to the point where I spent half the day trying to think about what my post was going to be for that night. I hadn't done a lot of the work that I was supposed to be doing, and I still need to get a post up. One of the things that I pride myself on doing is when I say I'm going to do something, I follow through. So I still had to post something to my social account, and it ended up just being a post with a silhouette of my face, and I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I haven't figured out what I want to post, and I feel a burden and a responsibility in a positive way. It's not anybody pushing me. It's not trying to live up to somebody else's expectations. It's my own expectations for myself. I don't want to look back on this time and say, I wish I had tried harder or done more or used my voice or my platform a little bit more. And so I posted that I'm sorry, and I'm going to continue to try to get better and find how I can best articulate this. And I put it up. And it's something that I preach to people, right? I tell people, post, create content, share your message, spread your voice, and just get started, create momentum. And if you don't know what to post, say that you don't know what to post, just exactly like I did myself, right? A lot of times we're so pressured to try to figure what the perfect thing is. We put all this weight on ourselves and then we don't do anything at all. And that's what I want to try to avoid. That even if you get to the end, you're at your deadline, you said you were going to do something, that you have to go do something. You have to post, because teaching yourself that you couldn't find the right thing and so you're not going to do anything is the worst lesson. It reinforces the perfectionist nature. Instead of posting something and saying, I tried my best with what I had and I did it, and patting yourself on the back and being proud of it, because that's what matters. That's what creates the momentum that you need to go up and have the impact that you have, as opposed to staying small, staying insignificant, staying in fear constantly, and wrapping it in the guise of calling yourself a perfectionist. So how do you escape it? How do you get out of your head and into action mode? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. But before that, if you want to learn how to have confidence, self-love, and motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
Some people see the thing that they want, and some people see the thing that prevents them from getting the thing that they want.
I would rather take the risk of walking out, knowing that I might get moved in a way that I've never experienced before, more than just go and have a nice night out and see something that I know is good.
But I'm interested in your opinion. Let's go around the room. It's too late.
Okay, so how do you do it? How do you get out of your head? How do you get out of that perfectionist mode and into action mode? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process. Let's go. Step number 1 is get out of your head and into your heart. Your head is designed to keep you small. Your head is designed to be practical. Your head is designed to think of what currently exists. Your heart can birth something new that hasn't existed before. And so we come up with these great ideas, but then our head tells us why we can't do it. We're not smart enough. We don't have the money, resources, time, family, all of it. That's your head talking, right? That's you playing small. That's your perfectionist nature coming in. What does your heart want to make? Just imagine a world, just breathe and relax for a couple minutes, and imagine a world where things are possible. Imagine a world where things are possible. Take a little breather, just that break, and just imagine that it is possible. What do you want to make? Don't worry yet about how it's going to make money. Don't worry yet about how your family's going to react to it. Don't worry about all the other things that listen, there's going to be lots of time to worry. Just for now, just for a couple of minutes. Imagine that it was all possible. What would you want to create? Get into your heart for this exercise and just write some things down of what your heart would like to make. Step number 2 is apply the 2% difference. So when you're starting on something new, we tend to go and start planning. The first step is planning, right? How am I going to plan to make this thing perfect, right? Especially if you're a perfectionist. That's what you're doing. You're making this beautiful plan for how it's going to work out. You wake up the next day and then you say, I can't do that. Your head is taking over control 100% again. So what you want to do is what I call the 2% difference, where instead of planning for 100%, you take action on the first 2%. What's the first 2% that matters? Your very first step, when you come up with that idea from your heart, right? Step 1, what are your ideas from your heart? Your very first step after that is to take action on the first 2%, not to plan to get to 100%. Because you're using your best energy, you're using your heart energy on planning. And then the next day you wake up scared again and say you can't do it. You have to use that energy to build momentum. So instead of just planning, you're taking action. You're making a phone call. You're reaching out to somebody. You're booking a meeting. You're doing something. You're posting to your social media that you're launching this new initiative. Because then when you look at it tomorrow, say, oh, I announced that. I have to go do that, right? You put the wheels in motion. The biggest problem is the wheels are in motion. And planning doesn't count. Watching this video alone doesn't count. Going to a seminar alone doesn't count. You have to actually do something to apply it to your life. Apply the 2% difference. And then step number 3 is tie your self-worth to the effort, not the result. This is one of the things that hurts perfectionists so much, is you are tying your self-worth to the result. You want it to be perfect. It never is perfect, and so you beat yourself up over it. This is a pat in the back. No, you're beating yourself up over it because it's never perfect. You can always find some other way to beat yourself up again. What you want to do instead is tie your self-worth to the effort. Are you proud of the effort that you put in every day? Was it a great effort, even though the results sucked? Even though you made your first video and it was terrible, and you dropped the camera and you didn't record the audio properly and you stumbled 1,000 times. Are you proud of yourself for getting in front of the camera and pressing record because you've wanted to do it for the past 5 years and you never had the courage to do it, right? That's worth celebrating, not punching yourself over. Learning to celebrate the things that you do that are scary, that are difficult, that are hard, that are outside your comfort zone, even though you don't get the results. Because the first time you try something, you will not get the results. It's not gonna work out. It's the first time you do it. Why do you think you're gonna be great the first time through? You won't. But celebrating your effort for trying, because if every day you woke up and you tried your best effort, you're gonna create amazing, amazing, amazing things. The things you wrote down in step 1 can actually happen for you if you're applying max effort. But most days you're gonna wake up and it's not gonna be perfect, and you are gonna fail, and you're not gonna get the result that you want. That's gonna be most of your days. You have to flip it. Your self-worth comes from the effort you're putting in every single day as opposed to the result that you're getting every single day. You make that change, your entire life is gonna transform. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, question of the day, what is the 2% difference for you? Take one of your projects, one of your ideas, what's the 2% difference? Let me know, put it down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, you're still watching, I wanna celebrate you. You're Believe Nation. We don't just watch videos here, we do something. If you're gonna commit to taking action, give me a hashtag Believe down in the comments below so we can celebrate together.
You should always be doing what you want.
And even if nobody responds to it, like you should just.
You don't know yet. Not at first. Like, to your point, if you do something for a year and a half and nobody gives a now you're delusional. But notice that I'm giving you an answer based on where you're at now. If you don't have a podcast yet, you should start with what you love. Because the only way you're gonna do something hard enough is if you love it. You know? So you start with something you love, you do it for a year, you feel it out, and you know, if you're now into year 2 and nobody still is, now it's, you know, people always, the hardest question to ask is when should you double down on staying the course and persevering, or when should you bail and shut it down? You never really, like I can never answer that question. There's too much I need to know to answer that question, but in the beginning point, it's very easy for me to answer. Do something you love, because if you're doing something you think will do well, you're now already in a place where it's gonna be hard for you to make the content. You're not passionate about it. You got so many other. You're gonna choose what else is better or easier. Like, you know, it's hard to get going around something you don't feel great about. You're just doing it for what? For the listens? For the subscribes? For what? I mean, I'm so passionately trying to get people to realize happy is better than money. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this. It's a very important conversation that we have to. If we wanna really, really, really change, we have to redefine what success looks like. It is just not how many subscribers you have. It is not how much money you make. It's just not.
If you want to know what Simon Sinek says is the #1 trait that you need to develop, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.